I've watched them longer than we've done the beer videos. There's a few people that I watched it before we got into it. Not that many, but we sort of got into. We started off doing a podcast, and it sort of became more and more beer centric. And then it's like, why aren't we doing videos? And we moved into that medium. But what, like, you were one of the first ones into it. Like, what got you into that?
So I was like, I'm a super, like, introvert, like, curmudgeon, like, hate everybody kind of person. And I was living out in, like, towards, like, Scranton, Pennsylvania. And, I don't know, man. I was just hanging out, and I bumped into this guy, Joe. He's a good friend of mine. He actually did beer, like, he was doing beer reviews on YouTube, and I met him. And, like, he will say this to you. I'm not, like, trying to say something that's, like, controversial. Like, I met him, and he's like, we met at, like, a beer thing, like a share or some shit like this. This is, like, I don't know, fucking 15 years ago or some shit like that. I don't know. Like, forever ago. But anyway, we met, and I was like, if this fucking guy's doing beer shit, why am I not doing beer shit? Like, literally my good friend. I was like, fuck this guy. I was like, this guy's on the internet talking about beer. I'm like, I'm going to do this shit. So that's how I got into it. I was out of spite.
I love it.
Out of spite. That's how I got into beer too.
Spike got
but then, like, it was like, I mean, it went beyond that. You know what I mean? It just I'm a super introvert. You know what I mean? Like, I love my life. It's not like I'm like a hermit in the corner. Like, I have a beautiful wife, and I love my life, and I love all that shit. But it's just fun. It's fun to do, and there's a lot of pretension in it. So I like to, like, kind of fucking knock that shit down and be an asshole. So I don't know.
Well, that's what Sean and I we realized a lot of times that, like, we had this thing where we have a beer, we have to review it, we have to review it, and I got to the point where I was like Sean, like we can drink these and have a good time and enjoy the beer for what it is. We don't have to have.
You got to that point. I was still in the point of we still have to review it, we still have to review it.
What I didn't want was I didn't want that pretension, like, because I enjoyed beer before I did the videos. And to put everything on camera, and I felt like everything, it always had to be like this goal. We have to review this, and I was like, it for a little while, it almost took the enjoyment of what we were doing, because everything had to be so analytical. Instead of just saying, no, I'm having a good fucking beer. I'm enjoying my time with one of my best friends. I've been friends with Sean for over 20 years, and like it can easily fall into pretension, and I think sometimes being so analytical can get to that pretension, and instead of just enjoying the beer for the product it is. You know what I mean?
Dude, like, that's like a whole nother, like, slippery slope to go on, man. Like, so before I did all this, like, I was like, I was a musician that, like, did music stuff, and it got to the point where when I would listen to music, and it's still that way today, when I would listen to music, I wouldn't listen to good music. I would listen to where the errors came from. I would actually focus on what what happened in the song. I'd be like, oh, that person fucked up there. I'd be like, oh, that they messed up there. And that, like, fucked me up. Like, you know what I mean? When I was playing music, I was like, I don't want to be that person. I just want to play music and have a good time and have fun with it. And I'm just focusing on when people are fucking up. And it's the same thing in beer. You know what I mean? Be like, you know what I mean? Like, when, like, you're judging. I don't want to even say judging, because that's fucked up. But you're talking about beer, having fun, and or like, oh, this person doesn't taste the same thing, or this person doesn't, whatever. And that's why I got to the point where I was judging, like, grade wise. I was like, okay, this is 98 this is 86 that. And I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm done. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just gonna say I like it or I don't, and why I like it and why I don't like it. And if you like this, you like this. I'm done and done. So I kind of just dropped the whole kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did the same.
Yeah.
Like, we decided to not do the rating thing too. Like, and there are times where where a lot of people, especially you tell us to bring it back, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like the rating thing is kind of just, I don't know, it's not really worth it. It's like if you like the beer, it's like, yes, you can say drink the beer, drink it, or don't drink the beer. Like, people are going to get the same message regardless if you give it a 95 or a 92.5, 92.3, right?
But even when we did the reviews, when we did like the ratings, we kept it really general. We did 5-star, and like it wasn't uncommon for us to give something, say 3 stars, 3.5. Which to me is not a bad beer. You're talking about something that's like, if in grade school, that 75, 3.5 or so is about average. So like I thought like having a beer that was average wasn't a bad beer. And I would see a review of a beer and someone's like, oh, they would kind of dump on it for a while.
Shit on it, it was 3.5 stars.
But then they give it like an 87. I mean, 87, that's a B plus. That's a really good grade to me.
Yeah.
So we kept.
Yeah, it's a weird world to live in.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the rating stuff goes, you know what I mean? Like, it has a place, but for me, it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Because like, listen, there's like the BJCP portion of the world like has a grading system that's like, okay, this is this based off of this, but it's like talking about like food, like it's like French cuisine and Japanese cuisine and like Asian cuisine and all that shit has like elevated way past like a level of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star thing. And the same thing with beer. You know what I mean? It's like this, like you're talking about BJCP style beers. You're talking about, okay, let's grade this Doppelbock, whether it's this, and this, and be like, okay, well, this person made this great beer that just happens to skew adjacent to Doppelbock. And it's the best beer I ever had, but it doesn't meet these 3 weird markers that some dude made up like 30 years ago. So now it's like a -5. Fuck that noise. You know what I mean? People that apply to that mindset of like putting shit in a box, compartmentalizing shit is the saddest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Well,
like, dude, just like shit you like is what you like.
What I ended up doing, and I realized is it's very easy to get your own opinion, like, because I'm not a coffee guy. I just don't like coffee. If you've ever seen our reviews, anytime it's a coffee-based beer, it just doesn't do it for me. I never had a cup of coffee in my life. I'm not into it. But it's easy to put your own like hang-ups into a review of a beer when like the brewer had an intention. What he and you really need to rate a beer, in my opinion, on what the intention was. And there were definitely times where I've had beer that just didn't do it for me. And sometimes I wasn't this objective, but there were times where, especially where I would give a beer a review, a score, based on what the brewer was trying to do, rather than on what I loved or didn't love about it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, honestly, the first question I would ask it would be, if you're judging a coffee beer and you don't like coffee, why are you doing it?
Because Sean does.
You know what I mean? Like
Sean does.
Because we tricked him into
you know what I
drinking
mean? Like,
coffee beer.
like, and on top of that, if you're going to judge a coffee beer and you don't like it, why haven't you dived into what coffee tastes like? Coffee tastes different outside of drinking coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, why haven't you... Like, sometimes the question is on the brewer, but sometimes the question is in the person drinking the beer.
No, 100%. But I feel like the thing is, like, there are certain fruits I don't like, or the ones I love more.
Or coffee.
Or coffee, right. But I
Mostly
feel...
coffee.
But the thing is, like to judge a beer, I think you need to judge a beer based on what the brewer's intentions were.
Yeah.
And instead of having like, well, I don't like pepper, so And I don't like saisons.
And
So
this beer is dog shit because I don't like that.
yeah, so why if you're gonna review a saison, because there are gonna be some beer judges that would review a saison. If that's not their favorite style, if that's not a style they enjoy, you still need to be objective about it and understand like what the style was or what the brewer's intentions were. In my opinion, anyway.
No, I don't think I agree with that.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest with you,
Okay.
I think you should judge everything on what you taste, but at the same time, understand what the intention was of the brewer. At the same time,
Okay.
like it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm expecting a saison. The brewer expected a saison. Therefore, we are going to meet in the middle. Be like, okay, the brewer expected to produce a saison, and I don't know how to put it.
Well, well, then, Matt, how about this one? Like, what if you're doing a beer judging, for instance, and you're not into wild fermented beers, and now one shows up in front of you. No, he's gonna give.
Why are you there to begin with?
Well,
like if someone says like, "Hey, raise your hand to get into the wild judging contest," and you don't like it, why are you there?
Yeah, that's fair.
Why are you even offering yourself to go there? I mean, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I get you. No, I don't think you're wrong. I just feel like I know I've had friends in the past that have gone to beer judging competitions, and the styles are very varied throughout the entire night. And so
I mean, that's every single beer competition you go to is going to have multiple layers.
Right.
But that's like, why would you expect to be Grand Poobah again of every single thing? You know what I mean? Like, if you enter a beer contest or a beer as a beer judge, they're going to be like, what's your forte? What do you know? What's the best thing you can do in this grand, infinite, crazy, like spectrum of beers? Because there's like crazy amount of shit going on. You know what I mean? Like, like I can do everything. If you walk up to a judge or like a contest and they're like, "What can you judge?" and you said everything perfectly, they should fucking kick you out. You know what I mean? Like, there's not enough time to judge every single beer style and every single thing perfectly. So you should be able to like be like, okay, I'm good at this, and this. Put me there.